Well, I must say that it's quite a normal delegation list for such a meeting, which is a preliminary meeting, kind of a first, the testing waters or something like that. And of course, Lavrov and Ushakov, I think they were kind of a chief negotiators. They're experienced, they know their job very well. They are undoubtedly loyal to President Putin. So he expects nothing, no surprises from them. You have a brainstorm, you produce a list what you want to get eventually from the American side, what you are going to concede, if there is anything that Russia is willing to concede. And so you prepare a list and instructions for the delegations with the minimum and maximum goals, with some kind of red lines and so on, and that you have to sit there and see what the counterpart is going to tell you. They have already sacrificed a lot without getting anything from Putin. Anything, at least on paper. Maybe he could have said to Trump something on during the phone call, but it's just words. If they are not put on paper, they mean nothing. And Trump is already giving Putin quite a lot. So I don't find it very, very promising. I don't find how it could strengthen the negotiation position of the United States. It's always easier to talk to one than to many. Because second, yes, Trump is much more looks now much more benevolent to Russia than Europe. So if Europe has the equal seat at the table, they would be opposing a lot of things. They would be criticizing Putin, and they would just, they would be an obstacle on this path to this new beautiful friendship.
It's so good to see you. Thanks.
Good. What a pleasure to see you. Very happy to have you here. Where does means so if I may ask you.
I think they could react with some degree of optimism. I think that they also are quite sure that they can squeeze Trump into very, very large and huge concessions, even without him knowing that those are concessions. And I think this Trump's behavior tells them that he's very, very much interested in to make this deal as soon as possible. That again puts him in a very weak and vulnerable position, because he thus makes himself dependent on the goodwill from Moscow, and Moscow can exploit it.
President Zelensky talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that basically couldn't be won, that never had to start and never would have started if I was president, not even a chance. And it didn't start for 4 years, never would have started. but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. They'll never settle that war without our involvement. That's why they did such a great job this weekend. That's why Saudi Arabia did such a great job this weekend in hosting.
It's not that they are taking decisions, what to do, what to say. They just deliver what Vladimir Putin thinks and what he wants. All their role is to find more suitable words for this. So sometimes they could think that it's better to appease somehow Americans, to flatter them. Then the next day they would think that maybe now it's a time to threaten them, to blackmail, to be rude, to be very, very, uncompromising.
Well, I would say it's a long road ahead, many differences. We need to manage expectations, but this dialogue of two, strategic powers in the world is very important, and the world is much safer place now when this dialogue started to happen. So we'll have to see how it evolves over time, but definitely a very positive start. And by the way, Saudi played a really key role in providing good, opportunity for this dialogue.
One word.
So if we can think that perhaps to have these negotiations, talks with Ukrainians, Putin could send there someone who are not important, someone insignificant, whose main role would be just to irritate Ukrainians and to let them know that they are not the people for serious negotiations, that all serious questions are already resolved with Americans.
Була дуже важлива Мюнхенська конференція, було багато зустрічей, в принципі.
Гарантії безпеки, які були чітко прописані. Чи ми можемо припускати, що, власне, ми бачимо позицію Сполучених